Welcome back to the channel. Today, we'll be riding around town, making a few stops together, servicing various customers' plumbing needs. Our first stop of the day will actually be a conclusion to a job that we looked at in a previous video. This customer had been experiencing a knocking or thumping sound at his water heater when various fixtures were in use. We stopped by to do a quick evaluation and determined that the problem was with one of the check valves for his recirculating line. We offered him a couple of different options, ranging from just replacing the necessary valves to going ahead and installing a new pump, as he was unsure how old the pump was. He's opted to just do the valves, so that's what we'll be doing today. From there, we'll be heading to another job where we will be supplying and installing a brand new toilet. We will then move on to address a customer's leaking shower, before finally going to the supply house to pick up a new water heater to replace the customer's leaking tank. So buckle up, plunge that like button, and let's get started. Well, that job ended up being quite a bit more involved than I anticipated. I expected to be on site there maybe 30 minutes. It ended up being more like an hour and a half. I definitely underpriced that job, but I believe in honoring a price once it's been given. So unless the actual scope of work changes, when I present a price and a customer agrees to it, that is what they pay, regardless if the job ended up being more time consuming than I expected. The pipe work was in a small closet just above the water heater. so it was a very tight space and there really wasn't much room to work with. I had been anticipating being able to cut the pipes in just a couple of locations, squeeze in the necessary valves where they needed to be, and press everything back together. Unfortunately, the new valves took up just a little bit too much space for the way the existing piping was run, so I had to redo the system a little bit, which wouldn't have been too big of a deal if it had been an easy access location. The fact that it was a tight area just made everything take a lot longer. But we got it resolved. My customer went ahead and tested things out by flushing the toilet afterwards. Previously, every time he flushed the toilet, he would hear that loud banging or knocking sound that we determined was with the check valves. But with the new valves installed, everything was silent, save for a little bit of water running through the pipes. Certainly no banging, no loud noises, nothing out of the ordinary. He's happy, I'm happy, and now we're going to move on to take care of the toilet installation. See you there. Toilet installation complete. Did you notice the existing flange that was there before I tore it out? It was cracked right where the bolt goes through. I don't have anything against plastic flanges. In fact, as you saw, I'll use them from time to time depending on the situation at hand. However, it's very, very important that you secure the flange to the flooring. This is particularly important if you're using a plastic flange. When you secure the toilet to the flange itself, that toilet is only going to be as wobble-free as the flange allows. And if the flange is not properly secured, it's going to be able to move and wobble, and thus so will the toilet. With a plastic flange, not only do you run into this problem if it's unsecured, but the plastic, being a weaker component than steel, will often break if unsecured. Now the reason I still don't mind using a plastic flange is because when they are secured properly, this type of problem is virtually unheard of, at least in my experience as a second-generation plumber who's grown up in the industry. And I do appreciate the fact that if something ever goes wrong during installation or down the road, a plastic flange is far more likely to crack before the toilet itself does. but I also use flanges with stainless steel rings as well. It just depends on the situation at hand. You may have noticed that the flange I installed had a gasket system. I really like that style flange, as I believe it makes it easier on the next guy if the flange ever does need to be replaced. Sioux Chief used to make a push style flange with a stainless steel ring, and that was my preferred flange to use. Unfortunately, as I understand it, they've since discontinued this product. If you're a plumber and you know of a really good push style 4x3" flange with a stainless steel ring, specifically stainless steel, let me know in the comment section. I'd love to find out about it. Well, hopefully you were able to get a little bit of an idea of what was going on that job. I didn't have a great place to put the camera. I don't know how that footage is going to turn out. That's something I'm going to have to give some thought to and figure out how to approach on future jobs. I do want to make sure I clarify one point in case it's not already obvious. Videos like this one you were watching, where we're going about the day, just performing work, these are entertainment videos. These are not tutorial videos unless otherwise stated. I do have tutorials up on the channel for various plumbing repairs, including for the job that we just completed. So if you are looking for proper step-by-step guidance, those are the ones to check out. I say this because even though I feel it's obvious, I recently watched a video another plumber made where he repaired a faucet in a bathroom. His video was not a tutorial video, it was simply for entertainment, just watching him work. Somebody commented on that video, quite cranky, stating that they followed along with his video to repair their own faucet, and they had water spraying out all over the bathroom until a plumber showed up. I don't want that happening to any of you guys. So please note that this is not a tutorial video that you are watching. There are more boring aspects of some of these jobs that are being cut out simply to make the viewing experience a little bit better. For instance, you didn't see me turn the water off in that last video. I didn't get a clip of it, but I did shut it off. You definitely don't want to go repairing a shower valve with full pressure still onto your home. We're now heading over to my supplier to go pick up a water heater for my customer. This job was a very last-minute addition. I noticed they sent me a text after hours, so I responded to them early this morning and went ahead and added them onto the schedule. Otherwise, I would have had a heater delivered ahead of time. No big deal, it just means we have a good bit of travel time. I'm very selective with the water heaters I use, and unfortunately, the supplier that's most local to me uses a brand that I have seen to be problematic time and time again. So, I don't use that brand. The supplier that stocks the one that I use is quite a distance from where I'm at right now, but that just means that I have some more time to cool off here in the air-conditioned vehicle. I would like to take a moment to update you on something in my life, and to ask a favor of you if you don't mind as well. My wife and I are due to have our second child in October, and I am incredibly excited. I'm also a bit nervous due to some of the increased financial burden that I'm getting ready to take on. I am basically a one-person company. I have a friend who rides along with me once or twice a month, just kind of lend a hand and hang out with me, but I don't have another vehicle on the road, nor do I intend to. So I don't have a large company backing me with an endless workflow. I'm very grateful to stay as busy as I do, and I'm very grateful to have been in business for a number of years and be able to provide for my family. Without getting too preachy, I definitely attribute that to God's grace. I could tell you quite the fascinating story about how my business came to be, how I had to trust God to provide, and how He did so, even in the midst of a very scary situation. That's not a story I'll get into today, but perhaps I'll share it at a later time. If you've been following me since last year, you may have noticed that I've been a lot more active on YouTube than ever before. And that's because I'm really working on building this channel now. You see, when I started this channel, I had absolutely no plans or ambitions for it. At the time, I had just started my local plumbing business, and I wanted to make tutorial videos to share with the local community. It was kind of my way of trying to be a good neighbor and also put myself out there and let people know who I was. I decided to use YouTube as a platform to host these videos, but the intention was simply to share them with others in my community and to be able to share them with potential customers who reach out and they really only need a DIY-friendly fix. I've done that many times. Eventually, as I kept making videos, I realized that I really enjoy doing it. And I would say that it's now become my primary hobby. It's certainly something I obsess about. I don't claim to be any great videographer. In fact, I hesitate to even say that I'm good at what I do. But I don't mind that because I know I'm getting better. Hopefully, if you compare this video to some of my older ones, you'll see a quality difference. But even if not, I've been learning the editing software, and some things that used to be over my head and stressful are now a fun challenge. So I know I'm improving in head knowledge, even if the final product isn't yet showing it. All that to say, I make these videos because I enjoy it, and it gives me a lot of fulfillment. And hopefully you enjoy watching them and get some benefit out of it too. And now, with the upcoming arrival of my daughter and the increase in financial burden, my goal is to achieve channel monetization. YouTube is putting ads on my videos anyway, so if I can get them to give me a cut of that, well, that would really help out a lot. For those who don't know, in order to achieve monetization on YouTube, there are two primary goals that you have to hit. The first is 4,000 watch hours within a year's period. I actually achieved that goal some time ago, and I appreciate all of you who made that happen. The second is to have 1,000 subscribers. I'm still working towards that one. So if you enjoy my content and you would like to see more like it, I would love for you to consider subscribing. If you don't enjoy it, or if you're not sure, that's okay. You don't have to subscribe. No hard feelings. I'm still glad you're here, and I hope to see you on more. Anyway, that's enough of that. I'm on my way to pick up that water heater. I'll pop back in when I get there. See you soon. New heater is picked up. Let's go. Well, it has been a long day. It was hot working in that garage. Got myself some nice warm water, but at least it's wet. Thank you for riding along with me. It's been great having you, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a great day.